Well, what could you do if you could make a recommendation? What would you tell them to do to change it up to get it? Because I know Mac mentions when we've had conversations about this, his thing is he thinks it's died off somewhat because of the fact that everything's on pay-per-view now and you don't have those fights you used to see on NBC and all this other stuff. Do you think that plays a big part?
Well, Mac is completely right because with pay-per-view, they charge you a lot of money and they give you a solid main event and they give you a lousy undercard. They really don't give you value for your money. We have the Boxing Writers Association of America, a writing contest in which the bylines are removed called the Bernies. Now, when Mayweather fought Pacquiao, I didn't go to the fight. A year before that, I presented Mayweather the fight at the year one in Las Vegas. Now, 1 year later, you know where I was for the Mayweather Pacquiao fight? I was in my basement. What I did early in the day, I took $99 and I went to a flea market and I wrote a story how the money could be better spent than going to the fight. And I got third place, the third best column of all the writers, submitting for the year. And it's a ripoff. It's a complete rip off what they wind up charging you. But listen, there's ESPN Plus. They only charge $5 a month. The Zone charges $100 a year, and you get good quality fights. But of course, when you get the rematch with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, they're going to charge you, big money for that, lousy on the card. And as long as the consumer, gives into that, you're still going to get overpriced pay-per-view shows.
Right. One of our fans, Justin, says, "Forget pay-per-view." I'm not. He said something.
He's right. I agree.
I'll just use forget pay-per-view.
Forget pay-per-view, and it's
I mean, even something like wrestling, like for example, which was such about, and there was a time in wrestling, WrestleMania, everything you wanted to watch, wrestling, big event, pay-per-view. Now they have the Wrestling Network. You pay $10 a month, and it includes all the pay-per-views. So you
absolutely
get like 10, 11 pay-per-views out of them a year that you were spending $40, $50. Think of how much money you just saved.
Absolutely, it's the way to go. Well, they thought years back that the Super Bowl would wind up on pay-per-view.
Oh,
now.
Boy.
And they could get away with it. They could charge $100, to watch the game, and people would pay it, whatever. And I'm not, and I guess maybe that would be worth it, the Super Bowl in itself. But what happens if they start charging for the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, you don't want to get out of hand.
And they charge imagine they start charging per game, and it's a 7-game series. And you're spending, let's say they're charging even $60, a game. I'm just throwing the total, but that's a few $100 if it goes a full 7 games.
Yeah. Sure. They don't have to do that, Mac, because of the fact that they get so much money out of these TV deals. I mean,
you look at a Super Bowl and you're getting $1 million for 30 seconds. So I mean, that's how they're making their money, and that's why it hasn't gone to pay-per-view yet.
Well, getting back to what you guys were saying before, like when we were talking about the face of sports, I think it was 1982, anywhere from 1980 to 1982, how the face of sports has changed. When the LA Lakers with Magic Johnson was playing the Philadelphia 76ers with Dr. J, they didn't even telecast Game 6 live of that series where the Lakers clinched. I mean, that's hard to comprehend now. But that's when boxing was, on top and so on. And but the face of sports has really, really changed.
They would never get away with that today. Like nowadays, I've seen sporting events be on TV, and it's just like I've seen game 1 of a series be on TV in a playoff best of 7, and for 5 minutes the television goes out and people are writing, "I'm calling the cable company. I want my refund for the month." They go crazy.
Yes, sir.
That famous Heidi game with the New York Jets and the Oakland Raiders. I remember when they went off for Heidi. I mean, I ran to my radio immediately to try to hear. So I heard what happened. I could sense, but.
I remember that. Jack.
We're living in like a different day and age, and some of the sports, unfortunately, are moved to the side. And I think with boxing, it needs personalities. I think if you have the right personalities that you could sell, people are going to want to watch. And like I was saying before, you have some young a couple of young sensational fighters out there with potential, like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. They're lightweights. And let's see, when Tyson Fury, if he's fighting Anthony Joshua, even though neither's an American, you got to believe the American public is going to catch on. And listen, people are hungry. Mike Tyson, he's 53 years old, and you're seeing all these pictures of him hitting the bag, that he's in shape.
Can I ask you a question about that? Because it's sure you brought that up before. I know Mac has like 10 in his pocket. One of the fans on Facebook just asked a question that just touched on every name you just mentioned. So Alexander asks, he wants your opinion. Is a Fury Wilder or one of them versus Joshua title fight more exciting, or is a 53-year-old Mike Tyson comeback more exciting for boxing? What's the bigger story?
Listen, there's that talk. You hate to say it. If a man's going to jump off the top of a building, you hate it and you're afraid he doesn't do it, but you're captivated by, you're watching, you don't want to, but it's news. I mean, and I could, and if the three of us are going to be completely honest, and Mike Tyson was going to go at it against Evander Holyfield again, and even in a 6-round fight, we're not going to want to see it, but we will want to see it. The interest factor, the curiosity factor. And let's face it, at age 53, I mean, the chances of Mike Tyson doing anything substantial are virtually nil. But because he's Mike Tyson, he takes off his shirt, he throws some combinations. There's that mystique, and people are going to pay, as insane as it is. Yes. And we're interested. Listen, you mentioned the WWE before. I mean, we're interested.
Tyson was on AEW Wrestling 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
wrestling. I mean, they watch anything Tyson does. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right. It's
well, Jack.
LeBron James signed an NFL contract, and he decided he wanted to play. And he was playing tight end, let's say, for whatever team, and you had your choice of games, you'd want to see LeBron James, how he'd be doing.
Sure.
Sure. Over, a traditionally great
the Knicks,
tight
for
end.
Sure.
well, Jack, back to boxing real quick. Now, I also have another theory, not just that they're on pay-per-view now, but don't you believe that 2 divisions in boxing is plenty, not 3 or 4 or 5, whatever they sanction? I mean, doesn't that cheapen the title itself?
Oh, of course it does, but we get used to it. I mean, there are 4 major titles now, and it bothers me, how it hurts boxing from a historical sense, and people don't even realize it. Now, if we're to be asked who was the youngest man to ever win the World Heavyweight Championship, people are going to say Mike Tyson when he knocked out Trevor Berbick. Tyson had 4 titles to choose from, okay, then, and Floyd Patterson only had 1 title at the time. So it's just not the same. Someone who would normally be a number 3 contender, not be a world champion in this day and age, he's going to be a 2-time world champion.
Right. And Jack, even piggybacking that a little bit, the amount of classes there are today, you normally had, some basic classes. Now a boxer, it seems, can put on 10 pounds and move up 3 classes and have 3 different belts if he can defend the title.
Yeah, well, there's 17 weight classes, and it's absolutely insane. Well, the latest rumor going around is Manny Pacquiao might want to go up to challenge Gennady Golovkin. And people are saying, how can he go up 2 weight divisions? But in the past, it would only be 1 weight division. He's at 147 now. Golovkin's at 160. It's not as crazy an idea as people are making it out to be. But you're right. And all these weight divisions allow the elite fighters to dodge one another because they can, it's like a chess game. If they stay in their own division, they can fight for another title. Or they could move up a division, move down a division, and it's really not good for boxing.
All right. I would say so looking at Fury Wilder coming up, and then potentially, I guess, whoever comes out of that against Joshua. Is Fury, in your opinion, hands down the best fighter, or you think Joshua has a shot, or will Wilder get revenge? Because I wasn't that impressed with Wilder in the second
Well, I was
fight.
impressed with myself. If you go to YouTube, link in my name with boxing, you'll see I was interviewed before the Fury Wilder fight, and I felt it would turn out exactly the way I said, so I look good. I wouldn't be mentioning to check it out. It didn't come out perfectly.
Right.
Keep my mouth shut. But I said he would carry the fight to Wilder and stop him in the middle rounds. Because the thing is, Tyson Fury, there's a massive man. Like you mentioned before, Jim, the WWE. Wouldn't he be great in the WWE, Tyson Fury?
Big guy.
Big guy with that personality. And Deontay Wilder's hitting a guy that's more than 40 pounds, that weighs more than 40 pounds than him. And imagine a lightweight, 135, hitting a light heavyweight who's 175. The chances of him hurting him are very small. And that's the one thing about heavyweights. If someone's going to give away 30, 40 pounds, we don't even give it a second thought. But how come the lower weight divisions, it's a big, big deal? I mean, you tell me.
So it sounds like you're convinced he's going to get through Wilder again. So that will bring me to my other question. Can Joshua take him down?
Joshua, well, he's going to have two chances to do it because the way they're going to work on a 50-50 split whenever the fight takes place. And then they're going to have a rematch like Fury and Wilder agreed to. And the winner of the first fight gets 60%, the loser gets 40%. So there are going to be two opportunities there. And I like to take it a fight at a time. I do think Fury's going to beat Wilder in the rematch, even though it's probably going to be a little more difficult, but I have no doubts he's going to prevail. And then Tyson Fury really has all the tools. I mean, he could move forward. For a big man, he's so mobile, but you never know where his head's going to be at. That's the thing about it. With Tyson Fury, he's a bit of a loose cannon at times.
So
all yours, man.
So I'm going to talk about Fury's style a little bit because I love boxing. I love the whole skill and all the styles. Fury to me, what's hard about Fury to me is that he looks off balance, but he's not. He can move back and hit you. He can come in and hit you. He can counter punch you, and he does have power. So do you think Fury, if he does keep his head right, because he's so hard to get on top of for another boxer, do you think he could be a great champion, or is he just going to be a solid champion that's going to have a couple of years?
I think he could be a great champion. He could be an all-time great, but the whole thing is motivation. You start making big money and so on. And Fury's been known to let himself go a little, put on some weights and so on. I think fighters' declines begin between fights. They have a layoff, they fall completely out of shape, and then they train hard for a couple of months, as opposed to the way they should be doing things, training hard all year. So with Fury, people were concerned before the last Wilder fight because all of a sudden his weight went up to 271 pounds. But with heavyweights, oftentimes weight doesn't mean that much. I mean, there's a good addition of pounds, and then there's a bad addition of pounds.